5-1 action. The Starry is attached to a boat, moving away from Maxwell. Upon it reaching the other side, you lose. Even though it would seem that all I can do is jump, the Starry is tantalizingly close. Oh, he's getting there. Wait, what? Did he move faster because I wasn't looking? Because that seemed like... What? I don't... Did he move faster when I wasn't looking? "5-2 action. Gates block Maxwell's path and levers underwater open them. Look out for the Kraken. We can open the first gate underwater with a swimming item. The Kraken will kill us before we can reach the second lever, so bait it back to the start and take the now open path above and around it. The air vent in front of the lever tries its best to stop us from flipping it, but we still can without another summon for an easy clear. "5-3 action. The Starry is attached to balloons and will explode from the TNT above it if Maxwell opens the gates with the button guarded by a piranha. We can avoid using a swimming item if we use something that can float, and we can save all other items by using that one as a platform. Most buoyant items can't reach the ground, but we can use the piranha as a small platform, move the item in front of the fire to jump over it, and finally use the item to push the button and fall into the Starry before the TNT reaches it. "5-4 action. Get the diver stuck underwater in a cage back to her ship. This opens the gate to the Starry. Wait, why isn't this a puzzle level? We need to get underwater, but also deal with the lionfish and bullhead shark. We can't just use a regular swimming item to clear this by itself, and we'll need to save the rest for later. So it's time to use a new swimming method: drowning. Most land vehicles sink while in the water, and Maxwell can ride them down as a swimming alternative. Here, we can even use the car to push the two enemies into each other so the shark kills the fish. Then we can nudge the shark away so it doesn't kill us on our ride down. We nudge the cage as far to the right as it could go and make sure to sink in that area. The shark will still attack the diver, but we can trap it under the car so she can swim to safety and we can grab the Starry. "5-5 action. The Starry is at the bottom right of an underwater area. Merlions will try to kill Maxwell on his way to it. We need a summon that can actually move sideways this time, so we can't just drown. But I ran out of things that freely let me ride them underwater in later levels. So it's time to take advantage of a weird mechanic. Aggressive creatures don't normally let you ride them, but if you feed them 3 times, they'll fall asleep just like anything else that eats 3 things in this game. Interestingly, when an aggressive creature wakes up, they will no longer be hostile and you'll gain the ability to ride them. They only become hostile again and knock you off of them after getting attacked. We need to sneak past the lionfish or have the summon kill them before feeding it for that reason. As for food, there are enough unique fish in this game that we shouldn't run out. Especially since most levels we use this trick on are ones that have fish already in the level. This particular level has 2 barracudas, meaning we only need to summon a single fish to feed the animals we ride for each solution. "5-6 action. Match the 3 objects on balloons with the same object in the water to open the underwater gate to the Starry. Wait, why isn't this a puzzle level? Each object we need to match is connected with 2 balloons. Unfortunately for me, each balloon can technically be picked up without a summon using enough shenanigans. Although, we will summon a fish to bait the gulper away from the balloons. The clam is the easiest to take the balloons from since it can be held by Maxwell. And while he's doing so, we can jump and grab the balloons. The sea urchin and starfish are where things get annoying. They can't be held, so we need them to be directly above their match when we take their balloons off, but that means they're too far away from the shore to just jump to. Instead, drop a summon on top of the sea urchin to bring it down just low enough to grab the second balloon. The starfish doesn't fall as far because of course it doesn't, but that's why I saved it for last. With 4 balloons, we can use them to pull the starfish down and barely grab a balloon. The good news is you only need 1 from the starfish for it to sink. Then we use a swimming item that Maxwell can wear since the gap to the starry is too narrow for most things you can ride to fit. "5-7 action. Welcome to hell." Good to see you back. The starry is not only underwater, but also under sand, requiring a digging item to reach as it's too deep for explosives. The more bad news is that aggressive sea creatures block the path. There's no getting around it this time, we need digging items. But first, let's deal with the creatures. There's another important category of electrical items. Items that don't flip switches, but do produce an electrical explosion when put in the water. This kills anything close to it, including every creature in the starry's direct path. Then we can sync with the car and for some reason can dig while inside it. We constantly need to readjust the car so it's close enough to dig, but we can eventually grab the starlight. "5-8 action. The starry is far above Maxwell and behind a gate. Pulling the lever to open it also releases bombs that will destroy the starlight. We're going to use a lot of bad items to solve this one. First, we need to destroy the bombs. Your instincts probably tell you to use fire, but bombs also explode after being destroyed, so I use spiky items like cactus to drop on them. Pick up the cactus before it's destroyed by the explosions so we can do the same thing to the bombs on the other side. I didn't use fire items before, even though it would also burn the rope to release the starlight since I was out of fire items when I went back to this level, but there's another way to break the rope without us attacking it. Someone else attacking it. We'll summon someone with a ranged weapon, and to get them to attack, summon a monster on the opposite side of the rope to trick them into helping us. Then we just need some items to jump up to grab the starlight, which you can actually do even if it's in the water. "5-9 action. The starry is under a boat. Walking towards it will trigger a tripwire to drop rocks on the boat and destroy the starry with these spikes under it. We can't grab it fast enough if we just run to it, but there's one thing we can try. A petroglyph is behind the tripwire with us and won't trigger it if we push it onto the boat. Now I don't know what actually happened, but on an extremely lucky attempt, the petroglyph perfectly stopped the starlight from touching the spikes and we could swim to it for a no summon clear. "5-10 action. Welcome to hell. Someone turned the lights off while you were gone and nobody can find the switch. The starry is guarded by multiple things that want to eat Maxwell and is all the way at the bottom of an aquatic maze. One of the things that wants to eat Maxwell is a hammerhead shark, and fortunately it eats the anglerfish, which means we can potentially feed it until it becomes friendly. Unfortunately, we have to do this in the dark so the fish we summon as bait frequently gets eaten. And remember, this is a maze. Start by luring the shark to the closest anglerfish. Once near, it'll start to chase it to eat it. Then we lure the shark up and right. Don't let it eat the next closest anglerfish, or it'll fall asleep near another one that will attack it, making it unrideable. And you'll have to do this entire level again. Instead, lure it up to the other nearby anglerfish. At this point, the shark will move on its own and can eat the 2 anglerfish falling asleep in Maxwell's reach. If it's too far away, we need to reset since we can't move the shark with Maxwell's god powers as we didn't summon it. Make your way under the ground, surface from the water, and move into the wall to the left. Once you're touching it, hold down and right. You'll notice you're touching terrain again once you see the waves only move sideways instead of down. Keep holding right and down until you see the waves move down again. And hold left while you descend to hug the wall. Once we stop moving, place the fish we summoned to the right of the sea serpent that would just love to eat us. As long as it's chasing the fish, we're safe to go left, and stop once holding down moves us in that direction. Hold down for a while and then move left again so we're on the bottom. The Starry is finally nearby, and Maxwell is almost out of oxygen. Yeah, he can actually drown. Add holding his breath for a really long time while having a fast heart rate from riding a shark to the superpower list though. There's a gate that isn't attached to anything blocking the star rate, so we summon something that floats to open it. Spawn it as far to the right as the terrain allows, and after a short wait, dismount the shark that's too big to fit. Hold left to quickly get under the gate so you can unexist the floating summon. Now the gate should fall back into place and push you close enough to the starry to grab as long as you press it with the stylist. (511) Action. Maxwell is supposed to kill the ghouls to open the gate, so the soldiers open another gate, blocking him from placing something on a button that drops the starlight. He's also supposed to press another button down there to open another gate that just blocks the other button he needs to press to drop the starlight on him. However, there's a much simpler solution that works in our favor. Just summon something small to press the two buttons that drop the starlight. Weirdly, if it's just the right size to fit between the gate and the button, it'll get stuck between them and not press the button. (5-1) Puzzle. Get the beggar off the island. They are foolishly unafraid of the crab, and also Cthulhu is underwater too. We just summon food for them to chase off the island. (5-2) Puzzle. Bring the chocolate from the third vending machine to the volleyball player, but don't let the bully kill her, or Maxwell, obviously. The bully won't attack the volleyball player while aggroed on Maxwell, so we can easily bait him to the right side of the screen and jump over him to grab the candy bar and bring it to the volleyball player for a no summon clear. (5-3) Puzzle. Grow the sprout. Yet another easy puzzle level where we can use bad summons like fertilizer. (5-4) Puzzle. Get the lifeguard into the water. She wasn't responding to positive stimuli, so negative stimuli it is. It's time to play our favorite Scribblenauts game. Are these unique objects? Or will it just summon a snake? Like how much totally real channel points is everyone willing to bet that this will be a snake or be a special unique sprite? What is everyone willing to bet on this? I'm betting 1,000,000 channel points that don't exist that this is gonna be a regular snake again. Is this a snake? It's like a snake. And survey says it is a snake. I'm in crippling debt. Easy. Alright, who's rich and who... Yeah, see, Viper, Wait. Will Viper be a unique snake? Guys, bet again. Nobody looked at the screen, right? No one was looking? Well, I'm betting the one channel point I got back, because I just lost all my channel points on the last one. So I'm betting the one channel point I have that it is not unique. That's what I'm saying. Locking it in. 3, 2, 1. It's unique. No way. No way. I've got nothing to my name on my own YouTube channel. (5-5) Puzzle. Get the whale into the water. Unsurprisingly, riding it on land doesn't move it. I thought we'd need a valuable item like rope or fan here, but things attacking it knock it back into the water. So it's time for everyone's favorite game show, part 2. "5-6 puzzle. Put something near the batter that they will swing at." It can be pretty much anything Maxwell can carry, but I thought it had to be a sports ball while doing this one, so I used them. "5-7 puzzle. Bring the pocket watch to the pirate." It's inside the crocodile and the pirate has a sword, so we can just have Maxwell lure the crocodile over to the pirate for an easy no summon clear. "5-8 puzzle. Get to the trophy before the athlete." Wait, why isn't this an action level? The athlete is actually pretty slow, so we've got more than enough wiggle room to get past the obstacles in our way. I push the spiked ball behind the large boulder so I can move it by pushing the boulder. From there, just keep moving right and you've won for another easy no summon clear. "5-9 puzzle. Get the school bus back on the street from the water." We're finally going to use rope. Took longer than I thought, honestly. That sounds weird out of context. What I'm wondering is if we can beat it with just rope, as it's usually strong in combination with wings or jetpack to move basically anything, anywhere. The bus is big and heavy enough that Maxwell can't simply pull it out onto land. Keyword simply. Attach the rope to the wheel and swim into it to slowly pull Maxwell under the bus, so he can push it out of the water at the correct angle. "5-10 puzzle. Bring the steel box from the start all the way to the other side, but you can't use vehicles." I wasn't going to anyway. I had so much fun last level, I'm going to use only ropes again. There's another way we can cheat swimming, climbing down while in the water. We need a rope to bring the steel box with us anyway. The first overhang can actually be swum under with the steel box weighing us down enough. Next, jellyfish will attack us, but the beluga whale can kill at least 2 of them consistently, and we can lure the other one to the left and quickly go past it before it kills us. Now for the hard part. We're going to need to climb down the rope while it's connected to the sinking box. If the box falls off screen, we need to restart. Let go of the box and press the rope to select climb. I was initially trying to do this twice in a row, which kept making me move the rope with God mode, and would lose enough time for the box to fall. But a better strategy is to climb down once, grab it, and swim into the wall. Maxwell is being pulled down quickly enough to not drown now, and he can make it to the other side. Don't worry, he resurfaces by making it to the other side, since swimming into the wall was the reason he stayed underwater. Now we've got to make it to land while the steel box weighs him down. It takes a while and depends on the length of the rope, but it's possible to jump on the sand and complete the level. "5-11 puzzle. Get him home safely." The only thing I'd change to make the hint more accurate is put safely in quotation marks. Lightning does very little damage, so we can easily push him back to land from behind the boat for a no summon clear. "6-1 action. The starry is on a higher platform and under sand. To get to the other platform, we'll need a summon to jump on top of. I used buildings here, which we normally need an additional summon to reach. But there's a cool trick Maxwell can do while interacting with things like the tiger that have him do a touching animation. These give him an extra jump while he does so for whatever reason, and since this is much less broken than the other double jump glitch, and I don't even know if this one is a glitch, I allowed it. Fortunately, the sand isn't very deep, so explosions opened it. Now for the bad news. The starry is stuck in a narrow hole, and I was out of rope summons when I got back to this level. That's unfortunate because we don't have room to nudge the starry. Man, it's so easy to lie. We actually can nudge the starry with small items. It's just even worse than a regular nudge. Yay. (6-2) Action. The starry is attached to a rope with a mammoth holding it. Pulling it will trigger a tripwire to make it fall into the void. We can grab the rope, but can't bring the starry all the way up without triggering the tripwire. However, the tripwire only makes you drop the rope, so we can just pick it up again before it falls. Even better, the tripwire won't trigger again. Now we need to get it through the narrow wall. Have Maxwell bring it up as far as he can. Normally, the mammoth can't bring the starlight up, but by having Maxwell ride it in the right spot, the rope will be pulled with him and bring it close to the ground. From there, Maxwell can run to the starlight and tap it to grab it. (6-3) Action. Dig or get past a campfire to be near the starlight. It's trapped in a narrow crevice. Instead of nudging with a small item, there's another way to move the starlight that I haven't used yet. An ant or other animals / people that move on their own can't push the starlight, but an ant pushing something else can. Remember, the way things move in this game is left twice then right twice. So if you want to avoid the rhino, only move the animal in front of the starlight when it's moving right. You can place it somewhere else while it moves left. I used items that could destroy or move the campfire for the animal to push. (6-4) Action. Kill the correct 3 animals. Killing the wrong one will fail the level. Wait, why isn't this a puzzle level? We just summon a creature to attack the 3 animals. (6-5) Action. Large ice layers that break upon stepping on them are the only path to enemies and ice blocks that are in front of the starlight. Quickly jumping off the ice layer before it breaks easily gets Maxwell to the ice blocks. We need to place a fire item near the encased yeti, which is a little awkward since there's a slope near the ice block that can cause the fire to extinguish from directly falling onto the block. Once the yeti is freed, place the fire near the encased caveman to free them and scare the yeti. Our path is now open to reach the starlight. (6-6) Action. The starlight is on a conveyor belt we can manipulate the direction of and which walls open or close. At the end is fire that will destroy the starlight if we don't do something. Without summoning, the starlight will just fall onto the fire and get destroyed. Add that to the lie counter. Remember earlier when Maxwell phased through a surface by getting stuck on a gate? We can do something similar here. Close a gate nearby the fire on top of the starlight to make it physics all over the place. By opening the gate again, this might happen sometimes for a no summon clear. (6-7) Action. The pterodactyl flying around is holding the starlight. Strangely, summons that don't fly have a hard time landing a hit, so I use flying creatures that attack the pterodactyl to drop the starlight on Maxwell. (6-8) Action. Switches in an underwater maze open gates to get to the starlight. Normally, we need to swim and dig to flip all the switches, but I've got a better idea. We've already used electrical explosions underwater to kill monsters. These can also flip underwater switches. We can take a more efficient route by only flipping the green switch this way and using a rope summon to swim. To get past the jellyfish without dying, pick them up and drop them behind Maxwell. There's a shark blocking our only path, but by bringing a jellyfish with us, the shark will prioritize eating it and swim right past us. This is a weird state creatures have where they become intangible to Maxwell, which is another superpower for those keeping track. (6-9) Action. To open the gate, bring the cow and bull down to the cowboy. The starry is behind there and high up attached to a rope. We can save a summon by dismounting and jumping off the animal while they start falling. Then we can blow up the TNT by pushing the gunpowder into it and running away from the explosion. The cowboy will eventually get bored and kill the rattlesnake, but we can speed up attempts by bringing both animals to fight it at once. We do need a summon to bring the starry down to us. This is the first level we'll actually summon guns. I know, everyone's been waiting for this. These are terrible for combat, so using them to break things from a distance is their best usage. And even then, most guns are too weak to break the rope with their limited ammo, so I had to test which ones were good enough to use here. (6-10) Action. The starry is up a steep platform. There are cactuses, fire, vultures, and terrain in the way. Another level where we just won't be able to see, since I refuse to summon sun or fire for convenience. We only need a weapon to break the cactuses and can place it on the button to turn off the fire. Then I summon 2 objects to give me enough height to reach the last platform. Make sure not to jump or Maxwell will attract another vulture, and it will mess with his cactus destroying abilities by having him run into it over and over like an idiot. Kill the final cactus that is right where the star will drop after a relatively quick nudge. (6-11) Action. Apples and lettuce are behind gates that when opened will fall down and be eaten by hippos and zebras. Give both lettuce to the hippos and both apples to the zebras. We just nudge the lettuce and apples to the correct sides and use that item to press the buttons that drop them. (6-1) Puzzle. Kill all the geese. Rather than using a strong monster to kill them, we summoned bad animals that would eat the geese. (6-2) Puzzle. Heat up the dinosaur egg. This isn't just limited to fire items. We can also use heating items like heater and grill, which are less valuable. (6-3) Puzzle. Summon 2 things that are used to celebrate the wedding. I just summon 8 different types of flowers. (6-4) Puzzle. Get the boy and the mountain climber near each other. I tried scaring the mountain climber while the boy was following me so I could make a jump without an item to cause both to die, but not before spawning the starlight. That sounds wrong, but don't worry, they died too quickly for this to even work. We'll need an item to deal with the campfire in our way first. I used bad guns. Then to get the boy across the long death pit, I used the only item type in the game that does what you would expect a bridge to do. Sports courts. It still wobbles a lot and usually results in death, but hey, sometimes it works. Before getting the boy to follow you to the mountain climber, pick up the bats and place them by the climber so they don't scare the boy into the wrong direction and cause the bridge to fall. (6-5) Puzzle. Get the giraffe near the zoo. There's a pit between them that we might be able to get the giraffe over without summons. We'll need to use the car for extra distance. Push it right until it can't go further. The giraffe can't simply jump on the car, but if you attack the tree with the giraffe while jumping, it'll move forward enough to land on top of the car. Now we need to push the car to the gap, dismounting to move the giraffe that would otherwise fall off. The jump required to make it across this gap is so precise I needed a save state to make this one doable. In order to get enough height and distance, start pushing the car before riding the giraffe. Move forward while on it. The goal is to use the top of the car as a platform to jump off of, which is made tricky because it's a diagonal platform that won't work unless it's in the perfect spot. The car will start to fall off the platform, and once it's as close as possible to the other side, jump off of it and finally make the jump to the other platform. There's one small other thing to do. The zookeeper scares the giraffe, so we need to jump towards the zoo to trigger the starlight spawn. It's worth mentioning the double jump glitch still works while riding animals, but I banned using it here too. Six puzzle. Get the zookeeper to the outhouse, but don't kill the animals. I was able to get us both past the monkey rarely, but couldn't get past the lion without summons. The monkey prioritizes aggression over food, so I use containers to move the zookeeper past the animals. Seven puzzle. Bring the diamond to the forest ranger, but don't kill the wolves. There's a pit we can lure all the wolves into that they can't escape. We can just jump over it to grab the diamond after it's safe, and jump over it again for an easy no summon clear. Eight puzzle. Feed the 3 herbivore dinosaurs, then feed one of them to the T-Rex. There are plants found naturally in the level that the herbivores will eat, so there's potential for a summonless clear. The Brontosaurus has a long enough neck to eat the shrub near the T-Rex without aggroing it. Maxwell dies in 2 T-Rex hits, and will take one on the way past him to pick up the clover. For some reason, the combination of jumping down the hill and the T-Rex facing away from Maxwell while he jumps lets him get by without taking the lethal attack. We can feed the clover to another herbivore, meaning only one more needs to eat before the T-Rex can eat them. What makes this difficult is that if the T-Rex eats one of the herbivores before they all eat, the level is instantly failed. And no matter what we do, the T-Rex will attack the dinosaur that needs to walk past them to get to the other plants. Even if we're riding them, we get knocked off and the herbivore gets distracted. Killing the T-Rex isn't an option, since it needs to eat last to beat the level. So, unfortunately, we need to spawn a single vegetable per clear. 9 puzzle. Put the bear in a ditch and summon any combination of 2 shelter items or blanket items. We can simply ride the bear into the ditch and jump off of it to leave without a summon. Then summon 2 bad items. 10 puzzle. Clear the dirt for the clown shot out of the cannon to hit the target. No killing the clown on top of the dirt. Maxwell can kill the one in the tent though. In fact, I recommend it. This is the perfect level to use ranged explosive weapons to save on digging objects. We need to get the flies out of the way, which can be done with the explosive item, or if it's a one-time use item, lure them away with food. There's an alligator between the cannon and the dirt, so we can't let the clown down there. Depending on the explosive item, we can carve a path for the clown to fall, or even grab the starlight before the level fails, as long as we're close enough to the cannon after aiming the shot in an arc that destroys the relevant dirt. 11 puzzle. Bring the 3 items in the crates near the soldier. One crate is underwater, guarded by piranhas. The other 2 are guarded by enemies with guns. One of the crates is on the ground while the other is on top of a high platform. Piranhas may be aggressive, but most aquatic rideable aggressive animals eat them. We can summon one, and then summon a fish for them to eat and fall asleep after killing the enemies and eating the piranhas. This lets us ride the now passive animal to the underwater crate, and grab the item inside. The enemies drop their guns, which can break crates. In order to shoot the highest one, we'll need to get on top of the prison, which can be done with a crate and the map inside it to get on top of its weird collision that's higher up than it looks. Then, shoot the crate, and the item inside should drop out on the ground for you to grab. Bring them all near the soldier to complete the level. Someone pointed out that I used art and painting, which are synonyms. I promise this was on accident, and there were other times I did this and other viewers pointed it out, or I realized while replaying levels. Thanks for telling me, Uzi Spatula. If anyone notices any other synonyms I use, please let me know. Instead of using a different object to nudge, because god no, I just used a printer for the paper inside on the level we had to color and art. Speaking of comments, some people pointed out that, actually the spikes on the ceiling are stalactites, not stalagmites? I can out actually all of you. If you use the magnifying glass on the ceiling spikes, they're called stalagmites. You can only imagine my evil smile upon realizing I had the perfect engagement bait for the last video while still technically being right. If you're wondering why this is, the game reuses objects in weird ways for many levels to show them to the player as a subtle way to push them into using more items. 4-4 Puzzle has my favorite example of this, where instead of just using a chandelier, which is in the game, the level uses a rope attached to a cake stand to mimic a chandelier. Thanks for watching. I plan on finishing this series before working on other projects since it's been a lot of fun and I want to finish a project I started for once. But hey, I wouldn't mind still getting comments about wanting me to continue the series. I mean, you know, it's whatever, man. Yeah, it's cool.